republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up we have the VHS student report. And that's not here yet. Okay. All right, so we'll move right into the superintendent report.
Okay, I'm absolutely delighted to introduce the board to some special students here this evening. To help with those introductions, we have our amazing art teacher, Mrs. Jody Daniels. Mrs. Jody Daniels, do you mind taking the podium and sharing with us the great work of these amazing, amazing middle schoolers? Thank you.
Unfortunately, Zoe was not able to attend this evening, but I helped her with her work here. So, I am Jody LaFrance Daniels, Visual Fine Arts Instructor at Brandon Middle School, and I'm here this evening to spotlight our 3 EMS artists who not only made it to the local Michigan Arts Education Association held at Detroit Country Day School, but were chosen during adjudication of that show to move into the MAEA state level art show as part of the best of 100 middle school artists that were chosen to be on display at Adrian, Michigan this year, which was the state show, which is a huge accomplishment. I would like to introduce them and their artwork to you and open the floor for questions to the artists. In no particular order, Zoe unfortunately was not able to attend, and this is her artwork. She called this a wolf's breath, and she was accepted into the top 100 to be in the state art show for the middle school division. Ziva Swindle, who created this screen, The Scarring is Beautiful Again, Ziva was chosen to be in the top 18 out of the 100, and in the top 18, she was 7th in that category in the entire state of Michigan. And Owen Rochester, who created, Owen's artwork was also chosen to be in the top 100, qualifying him to be in the state art show. This is an incredible accomplishment. I have had students that have gotten into the state art show, and it rotates around the state. Do I just click this over this one? Okay. So we have a picture with Zoe, and that's where it was at the Hickman Gallery in Adrian at Adrian College, and that was in April. So this is kind of extensive. It starts in February and ends up in the middle of April. This is Ziva, who attended at Detroit Country Day School, in her piece. And this is Owen at the state show with his work as well. And I'll let you have some questions if you have any for the artist.
I give three to the artist. I just want to know your inspiration. Owen, you want to go first?
Sure. So we have to make grid drawings of things, and a good thing to make a grid drawing for would be an animal. So I went with my dog.
Miss Isabel was kind of talking about this art project. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she was kind of more of a freestyle. She said how she had these old maps, and I don't know how it happened, but I guess it is.
And what's the map of?
It's
What location?
It's
I think it's a part of Clarkston. It was a set of old drawers that we have in the room to store artwork in, and it was left over from the group that owned the equipment. So we used those.
And Owen, what's your dog's name?
Sorry.
Sorry.
And I also have certificates here for them. Ziva, this is for you for the top 18, and then also for the show in Detroit Country Day. And one for you as well for the top 100 and the show at Detroit Country Day. Congratulations.
Students, fantastic fantastic work. Parents, thank you so much for bringing your children and sharing them with us this evening. Really outstanding work. I'm sure you're very proud. We're very proud of you as well. Thank you very much. Can't wait to see what's going to keep coming from you guys as you get older. So amazing stuff. Thank you. All right. At this time, I'd like to introduce our high school administrative team. They are here this evening to showcase Brandon High School, to talk to everybody tonight about their Hawk Time PBIS work and all the progress that has been made this year.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for having us today. We got some really exciting things to share with you about our Hawk Time. We're just 3 people. We're in Moreno, Megan Kozlowski, myself, and I'm on the Hawk Time team. Our Hawk Time team is made up of kids, teachers, administrators, we have counselors, social workers, we have the whole gamut. As a matter of fact, Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance is also part of our team. So we're just excited to have this team. A few weeks ago, I was at the Flint Metro League Principals meeting. The Flint Metro League Principals meeting is where all 12 of us principals get together. And we just talk about everything and anything that's going on in education, anything and everything that's going on in our buildings. And we just talked for 2.5 hours, just about, hey, what are you doing in your building? And all those kinds of things. And 2.5 weeks ago, they said, Dan, what are you doing in this Hawk Time stuff? Because everybody's looking for stuff, ways they can make their culture better in their high school, stuff that they can make education and learning more fun. And I kind of just looked at them, because we're in Oakland, there's only 2 schools in Oakland County, and the rest of them are in Genesee County. And they said, yeah, the principal's the buzz in Genesee County. When we meet with our Genesee principals is what's going on in Brandon with this Hawk Time stuff. So we wanted to share that with you. That made me really happy to hear that word is being out there, the great things that we're doing in Brandon. That other people might actually want to copy what we're doing. So, that's the clicker. So I'll try to be short. I get really passionate about these things, and I could probably talk for a half hour, and I know we're limited to 10 minutes, but I'll try to be quick. But 2 years ago, when we really kicked this in, we had started our Hawk Time with the idea of social emotional learning and that kind of stuff, and so we had these canned videos that we watched, and they were okay, but not the greatest. And we knew that we needed to do something better and expand upon those videos that we had. So then last year we got this committee together. Really, the committee was just me and Megan and a couple teachers. And we said, okay, we need to make this bigger. We need to make this better. Let's go. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? And we did. We made it bigger and we made it better. We did some great things for our kids. But we always still knew that something was still missing. What is that missing ingredient? And duh, it was the kids. We didn't bring the kids to the table and helping us design and think about what their needs were to meet their needs. And we brought the kids in as part of the committee, and oh my gosh, did we just flourish after we brought the kids in. Because us dumb adults really don't know everything. We think we do, but we don't. So we send out surveys to the kids. We send out surveys to the teachers, and hey, where do we want to go with this? And where we arrived, and this is another duh thing when you're in schools, is we arrived at this idea of culture. We knew that we already had a good culture at Brandon High School, but we wanted that culture to be better because we know that kids aren't going to learn well if they don't like where they're going. So when we took that culture, we said, okay, let's break that culture even down further. But what are we going to really focus on? And so we decided to focus on these 3 things. So decided within that culture, we're going to focus on motivation, we're going to focus on morale, and we're going to focus on membership. We know if kids are motivated, they need somebody to help motivate them. We know they're motivated. They're going to do well, not only in life, but they're going to probably do better in school as well. Morale, that's a big one too. We want students to want to come to Brandon. We want students to have at least 1 or 2 things that makes them happy to be there, to build that morale, not only for themselves, but for everybody. And membership, we know that if kids don't feel like they're a part of something, they're not going to be successful. So we wanted every kid in our building, in a survey that we took this year, to say, I belong to something. And so we think we were very successful at that. And before I turn it over, we also had school goals. And within our district strategic plan, we wanted to have school plan as well. And those 4 things that we really wanted to focus on, once again, duh things, but we wanted to focus on improved attendance, fewer disciplinary referrals, more student engagement, and better grades. And those are 4 hard things, but those are really what we're all about. So that's that's one of the things we're going to use as our measurement tool to see whether, hey, this play a little role in improving those things. And we'll turn over to Megan to talk more about in-depthly how we do that.
So one of the big pieces of feedback that we got from students and staff from coming out of Hawk Time last year, as Mr. Stevens mentioned, but we had the video the first year. Last year was a little bit better. But one of the pieces of feedback was the Hawk teams themselves, trying to get a little bit more creative with that. Instead of, because what it was in years past was whoever your 5th period group was, that's who your Hawk Time was your 5th period. And so, for teachers and with kids, that ends up being like 90 minutes of basically being in the same place and just kind of this haphazard, group of kids with not a whole lot of thought behind it. And so one of the ideas that we came up with was doing a draft day, is what we call the Hawk Time Draft Day. And so we wanted every student to feel like they were chosen to be a part of the team. So we took that first month of the school year to kind of get to know the students, the incoming freshmen especially. Freshmen already work with their link crew leaders in their small groups. And so we worked closely with Mr. Shannon, Mr. Malky, and Ms. Sulis with student council and link crew. And what we did is the first half day PD that we had, we took a small portion of that, and the build up to it was kind of fun. We were talking with staff as draft day, so we were trash talking, friendly trash talking going on. But every student was chosen to be on their team, rounds and everything like that. So students were selected to be on the teachers' Hawk team. So that meant each Hawk team had a range of grades from 9 to 12. Each Hawk team had some link crew members on it to help kind of be leaders and student council members to be leaders and connect with what they're doing as part of their initiative. And just a really good mix of kids from all different kind of, cliques and categories. And they were hand-selected by the teacher for every single student. And they all got a note from their teachers, saying why they were selected and chosen to be a part of their team. So that was kind of our big kickoff. And just again, to make sure that every student felt like they belonged someplace. They were chosen, to be part of that team instead of being.
So some of the things that we focused on that was more individual recognition. So every month we have staff and students of the month. So Megan does a really nice job. She sends out a survey to the teachers or a Google form, and she always includes the previously chosen students, so we can try to select from an array of students. So teachers will nominate students in the 4 grades and explain why they're being nominated, as well as staff members throughout the building. So that's been one of the positive things we've done. The other thing, and I kind of stole this from the district where I worked a long time ago, but we did these positive postcards, and we started this year, and this I really loved and was passionate about, because I feel like it's important that we recognize all the kids, and there are some kids who do a fantastic job, but they just kind of fall below the radar a little bit, but that doesn't mean they're not, contributing in a really positive way to the school, and they're doing really great things. So what we started doing is printing out a list of names and addresses for all the kids in grades 9 through 12. And then when we have the late start PDs once a month, as teachers are coming in, we have the postcards set up on a table, and they can go take a sticker, like we say take 5, 6, 7, 8, however many you want, so they don't have to look up the addresses. And then we can kind of use that as a measuring stick to make sure we're getting all these different students. So it's not just, one student's getting 5 postcards home. So that's been a lot of fun, and I think the teachers have really enjoyed doing that, and I see that continuing over the next, period of time. Indefinitely, because I think it's been really well received, and I know I've seen over the years, like open houses and grad parties, these postcards up. So I know, and some kids don't get mail anymore. They don't even know what it's like to get mail. So that in itself is amazing. So that's been another positive.
So the way we look at Hawk Time too is it's not just a time that we do one day a week for a half hour, although we do that a half hour each week. We want this to be a culture thing. This is just what we do at Brandon. This is how we act at Brandon. These are the things that we do. So I don't have to go over every one of these pictures here, but all of these are just different things that we do to celebrate kids, to celebrate staff, to have fun in what we're doing, and to want kids to come to Brandon. So we do have various things here. I can just point out a couple for those of you that might not know up here.
This is probably our custodial staff least favorite. March Madness culmination with the minute-to-minute challenges. challenges, so the students were walking with eggs balanced on little plastic spoons. A couple of them might have fallen into the.
But more recently, we did know these three ladies are going to the National Bridge Competition, which is going to be held in Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. It's going to be held, so that's something more recent. You know, we have Gwen Stein down here who won one of our Hawk Time challenges, and Mrs. Kozlowski's going to talk about those Hawk Time challenges. So we have a lot of different things going on. We just wanted to highlight those things just so you can see the different pictures. We were really proud of this. At the very beginning of the year, these were all over the building. They're just little slips of paper. And every one of those pieces of paper, every kid in our building has something positive that said on them by somebody else in our building. There was hundreds if not thousands of them throughout our school. We had a door decorating contest. Kind of our Hawk teams came together. And they had to put the Hawk themes in there, have respect. And the rest of the Hawk teams had to be on the door. So just really lighting up.
This is really fun too. You can't see, but these are that Hawk team. This is Ms. Burley's door. These are baby, like kid, elementary and baby pictures of all the kids that are in there. It's like leaving them. These are some. If you have copies of the presentation, all of these plans are linked in here. Because one of the other pieces of feedback that we got was that the students wanted more times to do fun things together, to celebrate together, and just kind of come together as a community in a fun way, in a positive way. So some of the ways that we did that, we had the snowman challenge that actually kind of was inspired by leading into Thanksgiving we stole from Harvey, do you have a turkey? Which staff really took it that way. It was fun. They were like chasing each other through the courtyard at the end of the school day. So we put out turkeys amongst the staff, little pictures of turkeys that they could put on too. And if they had it at the end of the 2 days that we were doing it, and came to the office at 2:30, then they got a prize, which was a gift card. And they were really competitive. Mr. Shannon and Ms. Path ended up winning. But
That got the kids all, if the teachers were into something, the kids were like, really happy.
yeah. So the kids got really into it too. So we're like, well, this was really fun. I wonder if we could do something like that with the kids. So we did something like that with the kids, and we put out snowmen in the lead up to the winter holiday and winter break. So the kids had a snowman that I think we put 8 snowmen out, gave them handed them to random students in their pocket, and they had to keep track of them for 2 or 3 days in the lead up to winter break. And if they wanted one from somebody, they could go up to that student and ask, do you want to build a snowman? And then they had to hand over their snowman and turn it in at the end of the day. So that was just one fun game that we did. So the icebreakers, this is a popular one where we gave them choice. We also tried to give some choice because every teacher is different, and just like a prescribed lesson doesn't always work based off of teacher styles. That was one of the pieces of feedback. So where we could, we tried to give some choice. We had like a suggested plan. Here's where you could go different as long as this goal is what you're doing. So this Hawk Time icebreakers was one of the popular ones where there was choice given to the kids and the teachers. Same thing with the student choice down here. We did address some identified needs through the Hawk Time with some substance abuse lessons. Another really popular one, which Ms. Marino was a huge help with, was we did different school-wide food challenges during that. Whether it was just fun, like getting to know the staff, like maybe some, not so well-known facts about the teachers and staff members that they had fun playing those trivia games with. There was one about, college requirements and graduation requirements and handbook and culture questions. And then our big one was for 5 weeks, we did the March Madness. It started, last week in February into that first week back in spring break, where each week we had a different challenge. And the Hawk teams went head-to-head against each other in the competition. Once they were eliminated in that head-to-head, they could support, they could choose to throw their team support behind another Hawk team until we got down to the final week, which was with the pictures with PAC. So everybody came down, and the two remaining teams, which was Mr. Shannon and Ms. Maroli, did a head-to-head Hawk Time competition, and minutes went to see who won. And they're getting a trip to Water Warrior in, I can't think of it now, Ball Mountain, on June 6th. So as a team, this group, we're going to go there.
Paid for by Brandon.
One of the things we've tried to partner more closely with Brandon Grove Youth Assistant, Tasha Hansen, has been a part of our attendance committee, which works very closely with the BIS committee. So she's been great. They sponsor some challenges because we've tried to improve and focus a lot on attendance. And so we've had different months where we've had different challenges. It might be the HOP team with the best overall attendance, just the fewest class periods. Some months we focused, because first period and sixth period are the classes that kids tend to miss the most. So some months those challenges have focused on just first period attendance or just sixth period attendance. And we've had tardy challenges too, the HOP team with the fewest challenges. Was grouping HOP time that way this year. We were able to put them into MyStar as a class, which allowed us to trash them as a group for those different challenges.
So then finally, does any of this work, does any of this go back to helping us improve attendance, having fewer disciplinary issues, engagement in better grades? And you know, Megan's been talking a lot here, but Megan really took this upon herself to really dig in to the data. So Megan's going to share with us some of the things that probably the most proud that we are of this whole thing, even though it did just play a little bit.
So this data is from semester 2. All these data points compare, semester 1. All these data points compare first semester of this year with first semester of last year. I'm still working it. I will show some of the data from through marking period 3 of this year because I know we had a whole other marking period since 7. But as of the end of first semester, when we're talking about attendance, because that was one of our biggest things, if you look at just the total number of class periods missed per kid, the average number of class periods missed per kid, so keep in mind a 6-period day typically. So periods missed from first semester last year was at 44 class periods missed. At the end of first semester this year, we're down to 39. And then as far as full days missed, it went from on average 7.45 full days missed per student down to 6.65. So we are kind of chipping away and seeing some improvement in that attendance piece, with the hope being that as we improve the culture and keep working on the culture and the feeling of motivation, morale, membership, that attendance piece will start to follow. Our failure rate. So this is, again, first semester. The percentage of E's, so all the grades issued in all of first semester from last year to this year dropped from 6.5% down to 4.42%. And then discipline referrals has dropped tremendously when compared to last year. Total office discipline referrals are down from first semester by 122 and 3 out of 4 cohorts of kids, so like 8th grade followed into 9th grade, 9th grade into 10th grade. 3 out of 4 had a decrease. And then this Rita will speak more anecdotally about it.
Just like personal terms in general, I feel like the students, like I think I maybe referred one kid all year. I noticed overall, I feel like just their level of respect for each other has been better. Like just the put downs in the classroom on a daily basis. Like the immature things you don't have to think about, like somebody's walking on the hall and a foot comes out, there's an intentional trip. Just that type of stuff I think across the board. And I do notice kids tending to talk and converse more with maybe students who aren't in their particular peer group in a respectful manner, which we haven't always seen before, so that's an encouragement as well.
So a little bit more updated data, and I'm still looking at the attendance data. I haven't, that one for some reason it always takes a little bit more time to go through the attendance data to get that down. So I didn't want to get incorrect information up there, so that's coming. I know that's empty. But as far as going back to that discipline data, on the nose, like I looked at my track of the detention spreadsheets. Detentions assigned, and when I went through the dates, last year to this year, we're down 100 less detentions were assigned, 92 less Saturday detentions have been assigned this year. Month by month comparison of so the number of discipline referrals each month. The only month that saw a slight increase was March. Otherwise, every month we've had fewer. Again, all cohorts except for one class have gone down. Total discipline referrals are down by 144 at this point. So we're still on the right path. I did include some of the big categories there. So, 2 less fights through this point this year than last year. And we have a lot, but we don't. The vaping and possession, that's gone way down. Tardies is our biggest category always. It's the biggest reason for discipline referrals. Tardies, so that's down. And then one of the big pieces is days missed due to suspension. The number of days that students, if they're not in school, they're not learning, and we're not able to take care of them and make sure that they're doing okay. And so it's huge to have that decrease. There's 69 less days spent in suspension for students this year compared to last year. And then academically too, quarter three, so I compared quarter three, market period 3 data from last year to market period 3 data from this year. There's 6.75, we went from 6.78% of grades being E down to 2.96. So we're seeing that improvement academically too.
So just some overall findings, 93% of the students surveyed feel that at least one or more adults in the building they have a strong connection with and that they care about them. 68.5% of the students feel multiple or most staff care about them. 86.6% of students feel DHS staff generally care about students and want what's best for them. 91.7% of students surveyed have attended at least one or more school events outside of the school day. 32.1% say this is an improvement from previous years. And Megan had gone in, so I can't take credit for this in real life. I did survey data at the state level, and we're in that area, we're 0.6% higher than the state average here in Brandon. And then for the 86.6% of students that feel that the staff care about them, the state average for that would be 79.4. So we're significantly higher in that area too. 57.8% of students say they either have or plan on attending school events in the future. I know even through that middle school spirit night we did during basketball season, we're just trying to promote a culture of everybody can be involved. And I think one of the things that this hot time really addresses, personally having talked to a lot of these kids, is a lot of them feel like they don't know where they fit in. So there's kids that maybe want to go to events, but they don't know like who to sit with or where to go or how to get there. I think we're trying to figure out ways to help them feel more comfortable. Like if you don't have 5 friends to link arms with and walk in, you can still show up at the game and you can still have fun and sit with somebody. So that's something we're just continuing to work on in the next year as well.
We're not going to read all these. We know that you guys have the PowerPoint that you can go back to if you wanted to. But in our most recent survey, we asked kids for quotes or comments or things just about this school year in general. So we wanted to share some of those with you. We're seeing a lot of positive things going on. So we don't need to read them all to you, but there's some really good things going on. And then our next steps, this is really what it comes down to, is we're going to take that survey information that we did for teachers, that we did for students, and then just our conversations that we have. And we want to continue to constantly improve, because although we believe and we feel, we've made a lot of really good gains in a lot of good areas, we still have a ways to go to where we want to be. So we're going to use that information, and we're going to constantly make improvements and continue to make things great for our kids that are attending Brandon High School. So I know we went way over 10 minutes, but we get excited about this stuff. This is our time to share with you guys and the public the amazing things that not everybody always gets to see what's happening in our schools. So if you do have any questions, we're happy to answer them for you.
I don't have a question, but I just have a comment. I'm very impressed with the leadership of the teachers over there at the high school. Knowing, going back years ago, that maybe a decade ago, but this is really great news, great job. I'm just very impressed with all this.
Thank you.
It's been great this year, because last year with Mr. Stevens, but for the most part, it's Mr. Stevens and I and our social worker and our counselor last year that did a lot of the planning. It was hard, and I know it's so hard, with planning periods and lives and everything. And this year, nobody, it was full steam ahead all year from start to finish. I really appreciate the time that the teachers put into it, because they were really eager and willing and taking things on, and nobody had to do it all. And so it's just great having such a big team of people working together all year and not tired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know I told Dan and Megan this, but I have a high schooler, and you always get the one-word answers on how school today. And for the first time ever, I got a one-word answer that I hadn't heard before, and it was fun. And I thought that was pretty awesome, and it was a halftime day, and it was a really great day. So thank you guys for all your dedicated work. The students appreciate it, and the parents appreciate hearing that they're enjoying doing it. So thank you. Hey, Brian. How are you? Good. We have Brian Smolnak here, who's going to give us an update on our bond project. Any parents that are here with children don't have to stay, you're welcome to go. Yeah. Have a great night, thank you so much. Brian, everyone?
Good evening. Not a lot to report tonight. Mainly the contractors are still gearing up for summer, ordering the materials, coordinating their staffing, and so forth. A couple projects that we did get completed during the break. We replaced the shingle roof at the Harvey Swanson concession building, at the high school concession building, and then at the storage building next to Swanson's concession building. The next steps that we got coming up. So this is the format I'm going to use as we go through. So as we go through, I'll put completed on projects as we get them completed, so it'll be easier to follow through. As far as the next steps that we've got going through here, they're ready to go on the concession building interior remodeling. We kind of had to hold them back a little bit on the high school, which we don't want to interfere with the soccer and the softball that's going on, but they're ready. They were ready last week to get in and start rocking. You go, okay, hold on, we got to put the brakes on. So we're going to try and get them into Swanson's though, and get that moving along as soon as possible. But they're going to have to hold off a little bit at the concession building at the high school until we move further in the season. But everything's going really good. No problems with. We were concerned about the tariffs, that they might have an impact on delivery of some materials, but when we went up for bids early in the fall, and we awarded around the holiday time, so I think we got out in front of that a little bit. So far we haven't heard any negative feedback from any suppliers or materials that would impact us so far. So hopefully that holds true as we head in the summer. But we're getting ready and looking forward to summer. So any questions I can answer from the group? All right, great, thanks.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, now we have approval of consent agenda.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, so now we're on to, a roll call vote, please.
Diane,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Jeff, yes.
Okay, information and discussion items. For the board reports, I just have a little, comment, but I wanted to mention how board members have seen and read the Citizen Series titled BGYA Mental Health and Wellness. And the articles cover topics on mental wellness where some of our school employees have been featured. And we know that BGYA collaborates with many community organizations, but the board is really proud of this partnership that Superintendent Carly Stone and our staff has with BGYA. So Carly and Shelby, thank you both for working together on a lot of the topics that benefit not only our students and staff, but all of our Brandon School District. All right, and then we have our action items. So 2025-26 Human Resources Staffing Report.
The Brandon Board of Education, move that the Brandon Board of Education approve the 2025 to the 2026 Human Resources Staffing Report as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Diane,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Jeff,
All right, Series 2 bond sale.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the Series 2 bond sale as presented.
yes. I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Was that Jack?
Who
Yes.
seconded?
Can I get a roll call vote?
Diane,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Jeff, yes.
Open Schools FY26 budget resolution.
I'll move the Brandon Board of Education approve the Oakland Intermediate School District budget resolution in support of the general fund budget as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call?
Diane,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Jeff.
All right, we are on to citizens input.
Oh, well.
On that one.
Thanks. All right, so before we get started with the public comment, I'd just like to read a statement from the board. Public participation at board meetings. The Brandon Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments and the importance of expressing yourselves to us on district matters. For guidelines, you must sign in with your name, email address, or phone number, home address, group affiliation, or any topic you're going to speak on. When addressing the board, please recognize yourself by stating your name. Each statement shall be limited to 3 minutes. You can only speak once. The statement shall be directed at the board only. Generally, the board will not respond to public comments during the meeting. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. To ensure due process and respect of individual rights, the district maintains a formal process for handling complaints against individuals. A problem involving an individual or specific incident is best handled through administrative channels. Such matters should be reduced to writing and sent to the superintendent or the board president. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you are about to say, we urge you to consult first with your legal advisor. The board wants to hear what people want to say. We expect each speaker will model for our students and others in the audience on how one can respectfully disagree with others' views or voice an opinion or ask questions. All right, so first we have Paul. So Paul, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm Paul Badgerow, taxpayer in the district, and full disclosure, I drive a bus for Brandon. I'd like to know what the district policy is concerning ICE coming into the district, if the board has a policy. So, I can probably discuss that probably at some point. Second, the student behavior on buses. We as drivers are expected to transport students to and from school safely. We also are expected to keep students under control while on the bus. Many drivers, including myself, have written up students for inappropriate behavior, sometimes more than once. Sometimes there is a suspension off the bus. I understand that the superintendent says no student can be denied transportation, yet there is no state policy or law that states students must be provided transportation other than special needs students with an IEP. There have been instances where a student is moved from one bus to another due to disciplinary problems. This does not solve the problem. Some of you should ride a bus and observe student behavior. Any and all help would be appreciated. So, you're welcome on my bus. I'm bus 36, if anybody ever wants to ride it, especially the elementary. You would be surprised. I think many, many parents would be appalled at their students' behavior on the bus. They think it's the playground. A couple days ago, I can't remember who said it, and this is so true. The bus is a moving classroom, okay? Kids don't treat it like that, okay? So, yeah, any and all help would be appreciated, because as the year starts to wind down, behavior gets progressively worse, unfortunately. You know, I've got a student right now who's off the bus for 2 days. He threw something, hit me in the side of the face when I'm driving. What could have potentially happened? So, willing to hear from anybody.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Candace Harris, and I'm a concerned parent in the district. I'm here not just for my child, I'm here to speak on all children with IEPs. There is a major bullying problem in your district. I'm not sure if you know about it. Your anti-bullying policy doesn't actually work. We all know that bullying is not occasional. There's obviously something going on. It's a pattern of behavior. And it's affecting these kids socially, emotionally, academically, to the point where children are trying to commit suicide at home because the administration is doing absolutely nothing to stop the bullying. I'm here tonight because there's a growing concern about students in the Brandon Middle School and repeated bullying by one particular student. He bullies not just my daughter, who is one of your major athletes. She is a state champion wrestler. She's brought, for Brandon, she came in second place at state. She came in fourth place at nationals this year. And my daughter's at the point she no longer wants to come to Brandon. She is ready to move on. And I'm ready to let her move on because the bullying doesn't stop. I got a phone call today. My daughter was in tears. She goes, Mom, stop me from giving this boy another wrestling lesson. And she will. She can take everyone down. I'm her coach. I will. And I'm urging the board to implement an anti-bullying policy that's different because the kid that's bullying her, I'm not 100% sure, but he could also be an IEP student. And obviously the policies that the Brandon district has doesn't work. Policy right now at the middle school is if your IEP student reacts to the bullying, there's nothing we can do, our hands are tied. So if my daughter who came home one day, took her dog leash and wrapped it around her neck, pushed her bed from underneath her, and hung herself, but then she didn't die because the leash broke. What is happening at your school when my kid comes home and feels this way? Obviously, whatever they're doing is not working. There needs to be an immediate individualized intervention. Suspensions don't work for every kid. My daughter gets suspended for fighting. It's a day home with her mom. She doesn't have to go to school. Today, she called me and she said, Mom, I'm about to tear his head off. Kayla, don't do it. You guys need to work with someone who can help you. If you don't know the resources that can, I know someone. Her name is Dr. Tanya Sims. She will come in and give you training, and I am more than happy to give you that number. But everyone cannot be disciplined the same way because the policy isn't working.